Alright, Archero 2 in floor 546 to 550. I've been stuck on this for a good amount of time. Probably been about a week or so. This thing's been an absolute pain, and I've been saying to myself, just give me a tracking eye, which it didn't want to give me at all until my last run, which I got to the final boss and then goofed and I ended up losing. And that's the point where I said, geez, it took me about 30, 40 times of playing this. When I finally got the skill, I blew it. So I finally went back in, and as you can see here, we're going in and we're gonna crush it today. This is pre-recorded. I won't be able to do this live. So this first boss here, this is probably easy peasy, especially after you play it 40 something times. It's gonna shoot out the 5 blobs each one. I'm just gonna kind of work my way back and forth. I'm not really worried about being a straight shot and it bouncing back at me. And then I'm just gonna kind of sit there and just pump away when these little ones come through. Once it gets close, I'm just gonna slide out of the side. I'm not really worried about stutter stepping when I'm going and dodging the big blobs. But you see that there? We're gonna take the multi-shot on this, which is definitely a big help. And I probably should go for the damage dealt to bosses on it. Wasn't thinking, pick quick, so I went for the fire skill there. So I was more thinking about the burn portion of it. Now this is going to be the archer, skeleton archer. We're gonna have 3 of them that get shot out that won't bounce against the wall. And then occasionally it'll shoot just a straight arrow out that will bounce against the wall. Now if you are far enough away on this one, those 3, you don't always necessarily have to move. They kind of work their way away from you. But this is going to be one of those things that if you get a chance, you can walk away, try to get as far away from this thing as you can, because those 3 that come out will split off and miss you. And really, you don't want to be right next to this thing wondering, is it going to shoot out 3, or is it going to have that one dart coming out you and potentially hitting you? Especially at this point here, you're the first one, second or third level of this. If I go and take one shot, it's going to bring me down to almost nothing. When I get to that 5th one, that's going to be where a shot will be a pretty much death sentence for me. So not really a lot of good choices there, Swift Arrow or the Cloud one. I'm going to go for that for the movement speed, and we're going to go for the luck on the next one. I don't want to take anything that's going to be reducing my damage at all, especially with how long these things are taking. But this is probably the biggest pain in the butt out of it all, is the spinning crab here. I try to get myself kind of lined up underneath it, just to kind of say, hey, if it's going to come at me, maybe it'll just do a straight shot down, but that's not always the case. You could be lined up directly underneath it, and it's still going to go on the angle. I do kind of try to stick to one side there, so when it does come, I know it's going to slightly spread out if I go and just move up just say a couple of spots there, or a couple of tiles, I should probably say. But like, that's a good one right there. I want it going up and down, just straightforward. When this thing starts bouncing and hitting multiple times, that's where it gets a little iffy. When I did have the tracking eye on this, that was a heck of a lot easier. But as I said, we don't have it now, so I am just kind of doing my best. We do have the revive rune on. That's one of those things like that right there. That almost nearly killed me. Took me down to 10 HP, and we're getting pretty close here. So when I took that first hit, I'm like, yep, it's just going to be one more hit. I'm going to be gone on this. We do have the healing sprite. That's kind of where a lot of my health is coming from. And we are using Dracula there, or Dracoli, I forgot the guy's name. But the one, we're gonna get a little bit of a passive heal. So got rid of him, we're good to go. The next one I believe is going to be the Stone Golem. I'm gonna go the attack power on this just to kind of make sure I'm doing as much as possible. So we're gonna have the 5 that gets shot out, there's gonna be the 4 that gets shot out also, and the 4 will be the ones that kind of bounce. So once again, we're gonna just stay as far away from him as possible. This does take a little bit of a long time. It seemed like it did at least. And all I'm really trying to do is, it is kind of a good idea to stay towards the back, but when those things all hit at the same time, it's kind of tough. We do have the invincibility vial there, so that's a helper too. But really, it's the 4 you gotta watch out for. The 5 is a pretty easy dodge. If he does toss out 2 4 in a rows, that could get a little tricky because it's gonna get kind of, a little bit nuts. But instead of trying to go and dodge left or right, try going up and down. Might be a lot easier to kind of just escape from it. Like, you see a quarterback in football, like everybody's closing in on him, and should I go left, should I go right? And there's a wide opening right in front. There's nothing wrong with getting closer to the boss. The invincibility vial is always going to be a huge help too. I was kind of saving it if I really needed it. It will disappear after a short period of time. I mean, it's not the shortest, but it is kind of just a nice thing to have. Do you need it on this boss? Probably not. I would have much rather had a tracking eye on it. even a poison or some sort of burn. Got him. We're going to take the front arrow on that, and we're going to take the lightning effect on it just once again so we don't have to worry about any reductions. So this one here will spawn 2 types of skeletons. We're either going to have one that shoots arrows or the one where you see the giant red arrow and it lunges at you. We've gone up against this before. It's going to be a big, slow green blob coming at you. The tricky part's going to be is when it launches out the 5 fingers of it, like that one right there, of trying to go and escape on that. So that's where you want to try to go, and if I can do it here, maybe I can't, but you want to try to go in between this spot and this spot, or this spot and this spot. You don't want to try to go in between the 3 there and try to split off. It's possible, but it's a little risky. And like I said, this is pretty much a one-shot dead on this. So I do have the revive room. I don't believe we don't get something we can watch and add on this, like the chapters. There's the other guy right there lunging. So I'm more just trying to go, instead of trying to run through straight, I try to run away a little bit and work my way over to the side. The big green one's not a big deal. With the invincible vial, you saw me do it right there. I'll go pop it on, run into it, just so I don't have to deal with this thing tracking me. There's a million things going on, so I don't really want to get stuck, trying to avoid something that's just slow around me. And the invincibility vial is a great way to kind of just hang on to that too, that when those 5 launch out, it's kind of a way to say, hey, I'm safe, I'm going to just get this. So we're pretty close here. We get them. Grab that, get rid of this guy. And don't underestimate those skeletons. They're, as you can see, pretty freaking tanky. We dodged that. That could have been game over right there. So that's how I beat it, 546 to 550. It's an absolute pain in the butt. And now going into the chapters, I am so under-leveled against them. But if you guys want some more tips in the game and you're struggling against the Flame Demon, take a look at this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.